It was a rainy Tuesday morning when Samantha left for work, her heels clicking against the pavement as she made her way to the downtown office. The chill in the air mirrored the coldness she had begun to feel in her marriage. 5 years with Alex had brought comfort, but also monotony. Their once passionate relationship now felt like a carefully rehearsed routine. Her boss, Michael, was a stark contrast to her husband. He was charismatic, ambitious, and always seemed to notice the little things. New perfume, he'd comment, or that dress suits you perfectly. It wasn't just the compliments. It was the way he listened, his gaze lingering a fraction longer than necessary. It started innocently enough. Late nights at the office led to shared dinners. Conversations about deadlines veered into personal confessions. Michael had a strained marriage of his own, or so he said. There was something magnetic about the shared vulnerability, a connection neither could resist. The first time it happened, Samantha told herself it was a mistake. It was after the annual office gala. The evening had been filled with laughter and champagne, and when Michael offered her a ride home, she hesitated but agreed. The car ride was filled with palpable tension. When they reached her apartment, he leaned in, a kiss, brief, electric, and utterly forbidden. Guilt consumed her the next morning, but the thrill was intoxicating. She convinced herself it was harmless, that Alex would never know. Yet, as the weeks passed, their stolen moments became more frequent. Lunch breaks turned into rendezvous at boutique hotels, their passion masked by the guise of business meetings. Samantha began to change. At home, she was distant, her mind often wandering to Michael. Alex noticed, but his attempts to reconnect were met with half-hearted responses. The guilt weighed on her, but so did the fear of losing the excitement Michael brought into her life. One evening, Alex found her phone buzzing with a message from Michael. "Last night was incredible. Can't stop thinking about you." The words were like a dagger. Confrontation was inevitable. Samantha broke down, confessing everything in tears. Alex's face was a mix of heartbreak and anger, but he didn't yell. Instead, he asked, "Why?" Her answer was complex, a blend of feeling unnoticed, unfulfilled, and craving something she couldn't quite articulate. They spent hours talking, tears streaming as they peeled back the layers of their fractured relationship. In the end, Samantha realized the affair was a symptom, not the cause of their problems. She had sought escape instead of addressing the real issues. The path to healing was arduous. Alex agreed to counseling, though trust was difficult to rebuild. Samantha resigned from her job, cutting all ties with Michael. She committed herself to repairing the relationship she had once taken for granted. Months turned into years, and while scars remained, their bond grew stronger. Samantha learned that love required effort, honesty, and vulnerability, not just with her partner, but with herself. This story, though painful, became a testament to the resilience of love and the possibility of redemption after betrayal. As Samantha and Alex embarked on their journey toward healing, life didn't immediately fall into place. There were days when Alex couldn't look her in the eye without seeing betrayal, and nights when Samantha lay awake, consumed by shame. Counseling sessions often felt like exposing raw wounds, but they persisted, driven by the shared hope of salvaging what they had built together. One of the most challenging moments came when Alex asked a question Samantha had feared. "Did you love him?" The words hung in the air like a storm cloud. She hesitated, her mind racing through the emotions she had felt during the affair. It hadn't been love, she realized. It had been a desperate search for validation, a reckless escape from her dissatisfaction. "No," she finally whispered. "I didn't love him. I was lost, Alex. I made a terrible mistake, but it was never about love." Her honesty was painful but necessary. It became a turning point for them. Samantha started working harder to rebuild trust, ensuring her actions reflected her words. She made it a point to be transparent, sharing her thoughts, plans, and even her insecurities. Alex, too, began to confront his own role in their strained marriage. He admitted that he had become complacent. taking her presence for granted. Together, they began to rediscover each other. Date nights returned, not out of obligation but genuine effort. They found joy in simple things, cooking meals together, laughing over old movies, and reminiscing about the early days of their relationship. One evening, as they walked through the park where Alex had proposed years ago, Samantha stopped and looked at him. "I know I hurt you, and I may never fully undo that, but I promise I'll spend every day trying to be the person you deserve." Alex took her hand. "I don't need perfection, Sam. I just need honesty and for us to face things together." Their love story was no longer about perfection or fairy tale endings. It was about resilience, the messy beauty of rebuilding, and the choice to stay despite the scars. Samantha also made peace with herself. She began journaling, reflecting on the choices that had led her down such a dark path. Therapy taught her to address her feelings of inadequacy and to communicate her needs instead of suppressing them. The affair, while deeply regrettable, became a catalyst for self-awareness and growth. Over time, the shadow of the affair faded. It didn't disappear entirely. Memories like those never do, but it became a part of their story, not its defining chapter. They learned to celebrate the progress they had made rather than dwelling on the pain of the past. Years later, as they stood together at a family gathering, watching their children play, Samantha felt a deep sense of gratitude. Life hadn't turned out as she had once imagined, but it was real, raw, and more fulfilling than she could have hoped. Her story became a quiet reminder that even in the wake of betrayal, love could endure, if nurtured with effort, humility, and an unwavering commitment to grow together. As the years unfolded, Samantha and Alex's relationship transformed into a partnership built on deeper understanding and resilience. They had learned to communicate in ways they never had before, sharing fears, joys, and vulnerabilities with an honesty that sometimes brought tears but always strengthened their bond. The scars of Samantha's infidelity were still there, faint reminders of a turbulent chapter, but they were now overshadowed by the life they had rebuilt. It wasn't always easy. Triggering moments came unexpectedly. A movie scene about betrayal or an old photo reminding Alex of the time before their trust had been tested. During one such moment, Alex found himself spiraling into doubt after finding an old card Samantha had received from Michael. It had been buried in a drawer she hadn't opened in years. The words were innocuous, but the memory it dredged up was anything but. When Alex brought it to her, his voice trembling, Samantha didn't hesitate. "I should have thrown that away," she admitted, her voice steady but full of regret. "Not because I want to bury the past, but because it doesn't belong in our present. I'll get rid of it right now." She didn't just throw the card out. She took the opportunity to reaffirm her commitment to Alex. They spent the evening talking, not just about the card, but about their ongoing growth as individuals and as a couple. Samantha also found a new sense of purpose in her career. After resigning from her previous job, she took time to reassess what she truly wanted. With Alex's encouragement, she started a small business, something she had dreamed of for years but never had the courage to pursue. The work was challenging, but it was hers, and it filled her with a sense of pride and independence. Alex, too, experienced a renewal in his personal life. He began volunteering at a local community center, mentoring young people who were navigating difficult situations. The work brought him a sense of fulfillment and gave him a perspective that helped him further process his own struggles. Their renewed connection also extended to their roles as parents. They became more present and intentional with their children, creating memories that strengthened their family bond. Weekend hikes, game nights, and heartfelt conversations around the dinner table became the norm. One night, as they lay in bed after a long day, Alex turned to Samantha. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" he asked, his voice soft. "All the time," she replied. "It's not the life I imagined, but it's better in so many ways. I think we're stronger now because we had to fight for this." Alex smiled, pulling her close. "We did fight, didn't we? And I'd do it all over again if it meant ending up here, with you." Their story wasn't perfect. It was messy, raw, and real, but it was theirs, a testament to the power of forgiveness, the strength of love, and the beauty of choosing to stay and rebuild even when it would have been easier to walk away. In the end, Samantha and Alex weren't defined by the mistakes of their past, but by the courage they had shown in creating a better future together. And that, they realized, was what true love was all about years past. And Samantha and Alex grew into the next phases of their lives with a sense of clarity and appreciation they hadn't felt before. The shared challenges and triumphs of their journey became the bedrock of a deep, enduring connection. Their children, now teenagers, often commented on how in sync their parents seemed. What the kids didn't fully understand was the depth of work that had gone into building that harmony. Samantha and Alex often smiled at these remarks, knowing their unity had been hard-won. One sunny afternoon, as they prepared to celebrate their 15th wedding anniversary, Alex surprised Samantha with a journal she had started years ago during their counseling sessions. She hadn't seen it in ages. "I found this in the attic," Alex said, handing it to her. "You poured your heart into this, and I thought maybe today we could look back and see how far we've come." Samantha hesitated, her fingers tracing the worn leather cover. Opening it, she was flooded with emotions as she read her old entries. Each page was a snapshot of her pain, confusion, and determination. One entry stood out. "I don't know if Alex will ever fully forgive me. I don't even know if I deserve forgiveness. But I do know I love him, and I will spend the rest of my life showing him that." Tears welled in her eyes as she looked up at Alex. "I didn't know if we'd make it back then," she admitted. "But we did. And I'm so grateful we did." Alex pulled her into a tight embrace. "We made it because we chose to," he said. "Every single day, we chose us." The anniversary celebration was a modest gathering in their backyard, filled with close friends and family. Amid the laughter and toasts, Alex gave a heartfelt speech. 15 years ago, I married the love of my life," he began, his voice steady but emotional. "We've had our share of storms, but those storms didn't break us. They shaped us. Today, I stand here not just as a husband, but as a partner, a best friend, and someone who knows the true meaning of commitment. Samantha, you're my heart, and I'll always choose you." The crowd erupted in applause, and Samantha, overcome with emotion, kissed him deeply. Later that evening, as they sat alone under the stars, Alex turned to her with a thoughtful expression. "Do you think we'd be as strong as we are now if we hadn't gone through everything we did?" Samantha considered the question carefully. "No," she said softly. "I think the pain forced us to see each other in ways we hadn't before. It taught us how to really fight for what matters." He nodded. "Then maybe the scars aren't just reminders of what we've been through. They're proof of what we've built." As they sat in silence, holding hands and watching the night sky, Samantha felt a profound sense of peace. Their journey hadn't been perfect, but it had been real. And in its imperfection, they had found something even more beautiful, an unshakable bond forged in truth, resilience, and love. Their story was no longer about betrayal or pain. It was about growth, forgiveness, and the power of choosing each other every single day. And as they looked forward to the future, Samantha knew one thing for certain. They had created a love that was truly worth fighting for.